Hey, what's up? There's a David from London. How you doing, man? Must be late there, isn't it? Very late at night. Oh boy, it's been a fun week. My belly button showing, and that's just not right. I'm overweight, but I ain't that fat. So anyway, how is life the day after New Year's? What is up, eccentric nut? So this is my Himera mount that I've been working on the last day or two. And it's going to go on this with some serious modifications because I don't like this whole gantry. These things, the actual Z gantry that attaches to this, I've replaced this. This used to be the same thing. These are single wheel crap. What's up, DT? They're just crap. They're single wheel, single bearing garbage. And it's regular T-groove aluminum, which is fine structurally, but riding a wheel in it is hard. I have some black V-groove coming. It was like one of my Christmas presents. One of them was the thing. Another one was 2 lengths of T-groove. It was $20. I'm going to take this, which I've already replaced, put it on. I'm going to use this system, not this bar. I just got it on this bar as I'm playing with it. But this system, and the reason I did it this way instead of this way is simply because this is a mini wheel mount. And one, I just kind of like it. It's different. I like different. But two, where it's a mini wheel mount, I couldn't think of any way to mount it. You have to mount it. You can't get the one set of screws. You mount the hot end to the bracket, but you couldn't mount the bracket to the gantry. And there was just no, because this gantry isn't much bigger than the motor is. Not only the whole hot end. This hot end's actually bigger than this mini wheel gantry. So I did it this way, which I think I'm going to like, because what it does is gives me clearance here. And with this mounted, that'll allow me to go all the way up. Because this is 550, not 500. I'm replacing it with a piece of 500. So it's going to drop like 50 millimeters. But I don't think I'm going to lose anything, because this is 50 millimeters here almost, like 25, 30. And then you have this thing, which you guys may not be able to see, but the wiring harness, which goes up and through the arc here. So you could never go all the way up because you clip your wires off. So I think this will work out all right. I'm surprised how stiff this is. It came out pretty nice. It looks pretty cool. It's just a mini wheel gantry. Right now I just have 2 screws. I can do 4. I can actually do 5. There's another hole in here if I wanted to do it, but I don't see a need for it. It slides very nicely. I haven't adjusted the eccentric nuts all the way yet. I was just playing to see how it would hold, but it's stiffer than I expected. What's up, Mr. Vince, the medic? So not only that, I like the idea of, I hate the belts going through the 2020 channel for the one simple fact. I don't know if I can show you. You know what? Let's get rid of the Raspberry Pi, because that don't need to be there. And we can take this, and I believe I can just pick it up and move it around the back. Let's set it back here. Now, the other thing I've already done, I don't know if you can see it, but on the bottom here, it's all 2020 extrusions. There's 2 of them with a nice wide plate. Unlike like the Enders or the Crealities and all those, where they just have like a 2040 in the middle and the whole, I don't know, it just seems kind of out of balance to me. I made a very wide plate, made custom wheel mounts. That's all good. But the one thing I've always hated about these is, I don't know if you can see it, because this hot end's all disassembled. The belt, and all the Crealities and all the Enders and all the pretty much any of these style Creality knockoffy ones, is the bottom belt to the carriage always goes in an angle. What's up, Michael? And if it goes in an angle, as you move to one end or another, you actually lose. It starts moving faster. It's very minor. But when you start moving across the 300 millimeter bed, it adds up. And I calculated out, and again, this is just kind of half guessing. I didn't do the math. I just kind of did it in my head. You can lose about a millimeter of accuracy. What's up, Tanner? Haven't seen you in a while, except for on Twitter. Dude, what you are doing, I got to talk to you, because how you're doing that in Blender, I don't know. You must have gotten a scan or something first to your face. Dude, that is awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, Tanner he's modeling himself, it looks like, in Blender. And oh my God, it looks almost photographic. It is, dude, that is awesome. You're doing a beautiful job. I'm assuming you did some scanning or something first, right? What's up, One Raz? What's up, Sean? Yeah, Tanner, whatever you're doing, man, you really should. I'm assuming you watched somebody else do it already or something, but oh my God, does that look awesome. No, I'm also assuming those features aren't printable. They're just, oh, it's an add-on. So what do you do? Do like a camera scan, use your phone and take a bunch of pictures like you do with photo imagery, whatever, 3D scanning, but you just doing the image. Do you? Cool. I will watch that. Dude, that looks really awesome. I saw the picture on Twitter. I was like, holy crap. Again, I'm assuming a lot of that is not the actual model. It's just imagery on top of. It's a, whatever you call it, a mask. But it still looks freaking incredible. Anyway, back to this stupid thing. So this is all going away. I'm getting replaced by this. So this next thing I have to figure out is how to run the belts, because these things, this little thing, you probably can't see it in there, but it has a little belt clip in there. And I think I'm going to run the belt where I have this big gap here now, the way I designed this bracket. I'm going to run the belt up here. I don't like them in the channel, especially when you put them in the open builds, because the V groove is actually tighter right here. And you often, if it's not absolutely perfect, you get a rub, and I'm getting a rub on this. It rubs like the little point of the actual V groove. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's a little itty bitty point, and the belt ends up lining up perfectly with that. And it's too tight, and this stuff's too inaccurate for that. So I'm thinking I'm going to mount the motor up on top, put the pulley up on top, have it run flush here, come up and over, and then back down and have the motor in. And then the next thing is figure out how I'm going to mount for the lead screws. And I've been seriously contemplating looking at this. This isn't even aluminum. This is like cheap steel stamped flexible crap. But I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just take this, take my grinder to it, shoot me a StreamYard's link. DM Twitter, I'll jump in and show you if you want. Yeah, you know what? I will. Matter of fact, anyway, I'll just put it in there. That's the one thing I like about StreamYards. If someone tries to get in that I don't want in, I just won't let them in. And they can sit in the green room. It's not going to hurt me any. Yeah, we can go over that in a minute. Not working tonight. So, yeah, it's kind of an unusual setup, having it like this instead of, the gantries this way and you have it hang off the gantry. I think I'm going to like it better in the long run. I also think I'm going to put it on where it's sticking out a little bit farther. It's actually not that much farther than that, but a little bit. I think I'm going to move it to the back side of the tower instead of the front side. Right here. So it'll be tight up against there. I'm getting more of these plates. I have them already. I just haven't built them. These plates right here, this mini plate, which will just screw on here. That will be my Z stabilizer. They're minis. They're kind of small. I hope it's enough. I don't see why it wouldn't. These things are absolute crap, so it can't be any worse than these. So this thing is going to get completely redesigned just to hold this. Now, this is the one I won in the contest, which I don't know if all you guys know it, and I'll tell the story again, but I entered a contest to win a Humera. A guy on Twitter was like, I have one. I love it. I don't know. I guess he had an extra $100 or something. He wanted to give one away. I originally, when I entered the contest, I thought he had to. Like, he'd won it and already had one and blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So I entered the contest and said I'd love to put it on my Core XY, which I already have. And, did a quick wah, I have no money and it would be awesome to put it on my custom-built Core XY. So, like, that night, my brother came up. Let's let Tanner in here. What is up, Mr. Ricky Tanner?
What's going on, guys?
No audio, buddy. There you go.
There we go. Okay, hold on.
It's on now.
Turn my mic sensitivity up a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, so I won the contest and won one of these. Didn't realize it. My brother showed up and said, that thing looks awesome. You need one of those. I said, yeah, I do. And he went, click, and ordered me one.
Cool.
So that night, I come to find out I had won the contest too. So now I got two of these. So one's already on the Core XY. That was like right away. I had to do that immediately. And the other one's going on this. And I can't believe I'm going to say this because it's kind of, it's going to make me cry because it's kind of nostalgic. But I think I'm going to get rid of the Max Micron because I don't need it anymore. It's not small, but it's small in comparison to today's printers. I mean, it was big when I bought it. It was 180 by 180 by 170, and that was big back then. So, yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep that. I can't believe I'm saying this. Glenn's going to laugh. He's going to be like, that thing was such a nightmare. But when I'm done with it, it's going to be better than that. And quieter. That's still got the old steel rods on it, which you can't see. Here, there you go. Now you can see it, the red one. That's my old original Max Micron that I bought, forever ago. It's my first real printer. I had an MK or an M3D Micro before it. That is not a printer. That is a piece of junk. That almost turned me off 3D printing. Anyways, so yeah, Ricky, holy crap, that looks awesome what you're doing. Totally sidetracked from what I was originally planning, but that is okay.
Well, man,
you got a screen share here.
Yeah, I just basically found out about this add-on yesterday, and so I had my wife shoot some photos of me from different angles.
Yeah, so you do just like you do the photogrammetry where you do a 3D scan, but
right, it's essentially like photogrammetry, but this is even easier to do because you don't have to go in and remove backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. So you got
just imagery. There's no actual modeling there, correct? I mean, there's a model on there, but you're just skinning the model to get the features. You're not actually
essentially
modeling the features.
So you've got a picture that you bring in, and it lays the mesh over it, and you use all these little
points, yep, just like they do in 3D
points,
animation.
And you basically just use them to trace out the features and line the mesh up. And with each picture, you've got to go through the process again.
What do you got? Like 20 or 30 from each angle? Little dots?
Yeah. Well, the more points you add, the more accurate it is.
All right.
But you can really quickly, like in my video this morning, I did a single photo of Jean-Luc Picard and did just the front end, the face. I found a nice picture of him and just did the front view of him, and it literally just takes a couple minutes. if I'd have had a side view of him as well, that was in the important thing is the pictures need to be the exact same resolution, and I couldn't find an exact same resolution side shot of him. I guess you could go in with Photoshop and make another picture the same resolution. It would take you a little time, but you could do that. But yeah, you just go through with each one, line all those points up.
That's freaking cool.
And
we were doing this crap like 20 years ago in apps, but it was not easy.
Right. Yeah. Now it's literally, I spent hours doing this yesterday, but you could throw something together quick and dirty in minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what video games do now.
Right. Yeah. It's not much different at all. The hair and stuff I added using Blender's particle system.
Yep.
So you can see if I remove the hair, the facial hair, because see your base,
you look like a different person.
Yeah, your base mesh is the shape of a bald head, so you don't have that poof and stuff that you're used to seeing with your hair. Now to make something 3D printable, you would have to go in and make a solid model of the hair rather than using like a particle system like that.
That looks freaking awesome, though, dude.
But I mean, the only thing you'd have to do to make the base mesh 3D printable is just close in that the open neck there. And then I know you do a lot of sculpting stuff. Yeah. So the cool thing that you could do there is you can go and you can
start using the sculptor in there.
Hide the texture.
I'm trying to use it, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
So you go in and hide the texture, but you can see. Let me hide that as well.
So you just start with a generic mesh,
right? So if you just
slap your photo on it, does it edit that mesh to your photo at all to change the feature?
Yeah, yes. That's what I thought. So you can see here's the base mesh. So this is what I would look like if I had absolutely no hair. No eyebrows, no facial hair.
Generating that mesh from your photo, or that's just a generic mesh?
It starts with a generic head model.
Yeah.
And then you're stretching and pulling on it until you
right. So when you add all those points, you're not just adding the mask to it. You're editing the mesh.
For rendering purposes, you're adding the texture.
Correct. But you edit the mesh too when you do
a base mesh that's shaped like the model.
Yep.
So then you could go in here in Blender and you could go to, if you wanted to go to sculpt mode, you could go to sculpt mode and start
giving yourself some,
whatever you wanted to do with it. You could
put your mesh back on there so you look like a freaking.
That's probably gonna look weird if I do that, but okay.
I was gonna say you could look like from Star Wars or Star Trek there, the black guy there from the Next Generation. What version was he? He was a Klingon.
Apply texture. Yeah, you can see it's making
the mesh does like smooth out the mask smooths out the mesh to match the.
Right.
So even though you did all that brush, very little of it actually is showing through. I mean,
right. It's raised areas now. But, I'm not good with sculpting tools yet on this, but you could go in and,
Well, if you're going to try sculpting, dude, get a pen and tablet. Don't even screw around with a mouse. It's a whole different control feature. And when you can do it like you're painting with a pen, it's totally different. Or if I don't know. Did you ever get your new computer? I haven't actually talked to you in a while. So this is your new fancy computer. I was gonna say this thing's flying through doing all this stuff. And doing those masks and meshes are not something that a computer does easy.
No, No. So yeah, it is a little processor intensive because there's times where it slows even my new computer down.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would probably put my little Mac to a crawl. But you could get, if you were gonna do a lot of sculpting, a lot of people are getting that laptop slash tablet kind of halfway in between that takes the pen and the keyboard, and you can flip it upside down and draw on it. And they're not that expensive. I mean, they're still $1,000 or something, but when you get right down to it, an iPad's freaking $1,000 nowadays. And that's one thing I think
the iPad Pros and stuff.
Called the Surface laptop slash tablet. It's like half laptop, half tablet.
Right. But ideally this is really more designed for animation and that sort of thing. But with a little work, you could make everything 3D printable. Like I said, you would have to go in and use like a sculpt tool to sculpt on some eyebrows. And
well, they've been doing this stuff a lot for. I don't know if you ever heard of Poser and Daz Studio.
Oh yeah. I had Poser way back in the day when it came on floppy disk.
Yeah, me too.
The first time I used it.
I still have the floppy disk. I just found them. What else I got? I still have. I still have Painter 1.0.
Wow.
That came in a paint can. You used to get the 22 floppy disks in a paint can. 22 floppy disks. It was like a whole day of eject. Please put in next disk. Hope you didn't lose power, because if it did, it just scrambled the whole computer.
So like if you were doing this for like animation or for a game or something, and putting this into Unreal Engine or after you got done, it would support the the particles and stuff, so you could use the particle based hair, which is fun to play with because you go into particle edit.
Well, that's good. I think you could probably port that into either Daz or the Daz Studio is free, and it's basically the same thing as Poser. I actually, in some ways, liked it better. I haven't used either one of them in probably 5-6 years, but Daz Studio had a really good particle, hair generator. So did Poser at the end.
So yeah, you can see the hair particles, and you go in and you brush you comb the hair and cut it and everything to shape it. So I'm not real good at that yet, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah, we're talking about.
It looks close enough to like the mess on top of my head.
Yeah, he's talking about the 26 floppies for Windows 95. I remember I had one of the early Macs. It was a 605, I think it was. And I got Painter. My parents got me Painter for Christmas. That was when I broke my neck back in the 90s. And
yes, one Raz, this is a Keen Tools Face Builder.
Yeah. And it wouldn't run because I didn't have enough RAM. You had to have 1 megabyte of RAM to make it run. My brother was in the military, and he came home for Christmas, and he handed me I never got the RAM, could never run Painter. You had to have a 1 megabyte chip in there. 1 megabyte chip. Yeah. And my brother brought one home for Christmas. This was like $800 for this 1 megabyte memory chip. So I could run Painter. That's sad.
Yeah, right now the beta for Keen Tools Face Builders is free.
Yeah.
But eventually it's going to cost.
Oh, it's gonna, yeah.
But
well, a lot of these companies are doing all right by letting people like you just play with it, and then anyone making money at it, they whack, which is hard to trace. But
right, but like the way that you install the add-on, it's actually running the add-on remotely.
Yeah, it's
so whenever they reach a point where they know want it to be free,
know what you're doing. That's for sure.
Then it will just stop working until you pay for a license.
I have not seen your video today, Nat. Mr. Naked Designs. What's up, Carl?
Hey, Carl.
Why did you do another I haven't watched any of the White Knight or Peasant videos because
he's got a Squire video out.
it
I
just
haven't
pisses
watched any
me
of
off.
myself.
I can't afford one, so I'm not gonna even watch. Sorry, but nope. Just every time I start watching, I want one of those, and I really don't.
I commented on Chris Riley's video about the tool changer that I was like, I'd love to have a tool changer and a White Knight. And then Chris Riley answered back, or a tool changing White Knight. He's like, get on it, Carl.
Get on it, Carl.
I seconded that.
Yeah, that would be. And that actually wouldn't be that hard because his gantry is pretty much the same setup. Well, not really. The tool changer's core XY, but it's still the same base motion. You could do that on it. You're just doing it at 45 degrees instead of horizontal. Oh. No,
so, yeah. Anyway, that was all I wanted to show was that. From there, anybody can install Blender. It's free. Install the Keen Tools face builder right now while it's free, and play around. It literally just takes a few moments once you have the photographs.
Why didn't it show up? It didn't even show up in my little crappy craps that you did a video, Carl. That's YouTube for you. You never know what's going on. What is up, Chris? So, yeah. How many printers do you have now?
Who?
You.
Same that I've had. I have the S4. Uh-oh.
Dog.
One.
The S4 puppy dog.
Yeah, I have the CR10 S4, which has the Bondtech direct drive on it. Would you stop? And then I have the Pivo Tornado, which I haven't used in a long time. I have the ANET A8, which I haven't used in even longer time. And then the Trunks EX1, which it doesn't get used anymore either. Go ahead.
So you basically only use the Pivo Tornado?
What? I'm sorry.
You basically just use the TiVo, huh?
No, the CR10 S4 is my Joey.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna go. I use the Core XY a lot more because it's just my design and I want it running. But this thing's actually been printing pretty good. That prints really well, but only because of the extruder. And now that I have the fancy extruders, I think I can make this better and get rid of that and get crap out of my room. Because I really don't run more than one or two at a time. Like today, I was running two because I was literally printing parts for each other's printer. It was kind of funny.
Right. I've been toying with the idea of getting rid of everything I have except for the S4, and putting that towards another printer that I trust as well as the S4.
Yeah. The only thing I do like about having all three is all three have a different nozzle. Because the little one's got a 0.4, it's got a 0.6, and that's got the 0.8 on it. Which is really, there is a difference, and it's nice. Especially the 0.8 when you want to build something big and fast. That 0.8 nozzle, like, seriously cuts into the timeline. Like, a lot. It's amazing how much faster it prints. Even if you print slower, it still prints faster because it's so much more material coming out.
Right. Also, what's the Sidewinder comes standard with a 0.6?
I think it does come with a 0.6. I'm not sure, but I think so. Pretty much everything comes in a 0.4.
Yeah.
And I don't see that. I mean, any of the the CR10s and everything, they should all come with a 0.6 at least.
Yeah, I've been toying with getting a Sidewinder just because they're direct drive. Come set up ready to go with a 0.6. It'd be good for a big print. Especially with some of the stuff that I've got in the works.
Sidewinder, put one of these on pretty much any printer and it'll run fine.
You don't need to upgrade like the extruder and stuff to.
This is the extruder. This is everything. It's a direct drive extruder. This is the Hemera.
Oh, okay, cool.
I got 2 Hemeras now. There's already one on the Core XY back here. It's got a Hemera on it already. And it is awesome. I am not an E3D fanboy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like E3D products, blah, blah, blah. They're good. They're much better than most. They're just overpriced and I can't afford them generally. And I never saw anything from E3D that I said, oh, I need that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, like the Arrow's nice and the Titan's nice and the V6 is your general, but they're all like kind of expensive. And you know, the BMG extruder at the time, I've got a BMG that I'm gonna have to get rid of it now. It just, there was nothing in the E3D that stood out to me until this thing. I saw this thing, I said, holy crap, I want that. That's everything I've ever wanted in an extruder.
Yeah, the Bondtech
really
direct
is.
drive that I put on the S4 comes with a genuine E3D V6 on it.
Yeah. So what's the green one? That's your ANAT, huh?
The green one over that's the Tornado.
Oh, and you don't run that at all either.
No, because it's hit or miss whether it gives me a good print or not. As far as dimensional accuracy, and I've tried to dial it in, and I'll print one test cube that will measure perfect, and then I'll go to print a part for one of my vehicles, and then the holes aren't lining up with the part that was printed on the S4, and the S4 measures out, when you sit down with the calipers, everything measures out perfect, and then I'll go to measure out the same, dimensions and stuff on the part that came off the Tornado, and they're off by, millimeter and a half. Which is just enough that a snap connector won't line up with
Oh, I know.
the other part.
That's why I don't like I was talking about it earlier. All of these have that angled bottom belt,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what throws them out. Because as you shift to either end, that angle changes, and you get a change in the pull ratio, because the angle changes how fast it's pulling. So as it gets, closer to the left side, it actually travels farther, and as you get closer to the right side, it travels farther. You can literally blow out almost a millimeter in width on any of these, any of the Crealities, any of them where that bottom part of the belt going to the gantry is an angle. It can actually blow it out.
Huh.
Because, you know what I mean? It's the mathematics of a circle.
Right.
And as you get closer, you're getting a bigger circle, so as it gets closer, it's pulling more. So it's actually traveling farther because, the low side is releasing more and the high side is pulling more. So anytime you go from the middle out, it actually at the middle, it's traveling at, say you're doing it 40 millimeters a second. By the time you get to the outside, it's actually traveling faster and going farther.
Right.
I mean, it's minute. You're only talking, portions of a millimeter in variance, but over a 300 millimeter bed, it adds up.
Right. Well, and if you're doing something that like my models that have snap fit connectors, those snap fit connectors, if they're off even a millimeter, that hole won't line up with the button to snap on.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if I can't print, a part on this machine and another part on this machine, and then put them together, having multiple printers isn't speeding me up at all.
Yeah, no. Not if they don't fit.
Right.
What's up, Tim? Robbie, give him a printer. Yeah.
Yes, Robbie did. And that is my one and only printer that I pretty much use is the S4.
That was your first printer, huh?
No, my first printer was the Tronxy X1 that Chris Riley sent me.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah. And I've still got it. I haven't used it in forever because, well, it prints like crap.
Actually, Tim, I did the math. It actually does change it because it's not that It's because as you get closer, it literally goes like this. So it changes your mathematical pull because it actually has to, the circle pulls more as it gets closer to the pulley. It's so minor, most people wouldn't notice it. It literally, the maximum, I think, and I did the math a long time ago, the maximum it could do if you're using big pulleys and you had it all screwed up is like 1 millimeter through the course of 300, but it can add up. And stuff like he's saying, stuff won't line up. You'll get inaccuracies closer to the pulley. If your bottom belt is angled, okay, going from the pulley to the gantry, and you start pulling, this belt, if you're moving to my left, which would be it's right, I guess, I don't know, it's reversed. As it moves this way, this pitch is going to rise, and this one's going to lower, or rise and lower, however you want to say it. It's going to change as it gets closer to the belt, to the pulley. So it actually pulls more or less. It's just the point of it's the whole point of a circle. As it shifts, it will change your pull ratio. It's minor, but it does. It's basic geometry. It has to. It can't. If it's at an angle, as it gets closer, you're pulling more horizontally because it's not pulling horizontally anymore. It's pulling diagonally. So if you're pulling diagonally, just like anything, if you draw a square and you put a diagonal in it, that diagonal is longer than your horizontal and your vertical. So as you change that diagonal, as it gets closer to the pulley, the diagonal gets steeper. You're changing your length of pull. Get what I'm saying? It's the what do you call it? Palladium theorem or whatever you call it. What the hell is that word that I can never say? Like half the words I can't say because my mouth's been rebuilt too many times. Yeah, what the triangle? What the hell is it? Palladium theorem or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't matter what the belt is. What you're not getting is the length of belt from the pulley to the gantry. It doesn't matter how much of that belt you're pulling. The minute that belt starts angling, if you pull 1 millimeter of belt horizontally, pulling 1 millimeter of belt diagonally is different. You're actually getting a horizontal movement, a different horizontal movement when the belt's at an angle. Get what I'm saying? So as you get closer, that belt angle steepens. It pulls more for every tooth because it's a diagonal or less, whichever way it goes. Get what I'm saying? Makes sense?
All I know is no matter how many times I get good calibration cubes off of the these two machines, I can't print a part on this one and another part on this one and have them snap together and line up.
Yeah, no.
And then when I sit down with
but
the
they
caliper,
both have that.
The one that's out. So,
correct. It should be. And again, dude, I'm over exaggerating it. It's a very minor amount because the pitch is minor. But if you go from end plate to end plate, you almost never use the full 220 millimeters. You literally won't notice it until you get like 3/4 of the build plate out, because that's when the actual belt gets steeper because it's getting closer to the pulley.
Yeah, the funny thing is I can print something on the ANET A8 and print something on the CR10S4, and they will snap together, but the surface quality on the print that comes off the A8 isn't as good as the surface quality of the print off the S4, so it's obvious they came from different machines. While I can get a good surface quality on the Tornado, but bad dimensional accuracy.
That's weird. That doesn't make any sense, though, because it's basically the same belt tool head path. Everything's the same, correct? I mean,
right. But I haven't had luck with this Tornado since I bought it from Chris. It's been pretty much a pile.
I would. The only thing I mean, I'm just guessing, but that could be the board. Get like an SKR or freaking cheapo and slap it in there and see if it goes better. That's the only thing I can think of is you're literally getting like skips. Does that have that doesn't that's got soldered on drivers, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything accurate enough to do that, Mr. Buttram. Although this might. That's why all my belts are straight. This is the only thing I got left with an angled belt. You can do the math. All you gotta do is draw a picture. It's like anything.
And I imagine it'd be fine if like I printed the entire model on the Tornado. I'm sure it would all line up and snap together just fine. But I can't print like the frame of the vehicle on the S4 and the body of the vehicle on the Tornado and then have them line up and snap together. They won't do it.
You are correct, Sean. In most cases, the length of the belt nullifies it to some extent, but you're still losing accuracy, no matter the length of the belt. If that belt's at an angle, you're going to get inaccuracies because it's pulling at an angle. It's not. It's trying to do horizontal movement, but it's pulling at a diagonal.
All right, Tom. Well, I just wanted to show you that that add-on anyway.
Cool,
I got to jump off of here. The wife will be home in a minute, but
hang out until she gets home.
Well, I'll be in the chat. I got to jump off here and.
Yeah, no, definitely, Tim. Filaments can have as much inaccuracies and cause as much, and there's other things that can do it too. It's just one more thing that can cause an issue, and why have it when you don't need it? Yes, there are a ton. Why not get rid of one? Know what I mean? Who's going to get in trouble? Who's getting in trouble? Jump in here, Tim. Here you go. Come on in. What happened? Why did my email all of a sudden just pop up out of nowhere? That rifle only weighs 1 pound 9 ounces. I gotta go watch that in a bit. So, anyways, Tim blinked in and then he blinked out. He was there and then he wasn't. Why do you keep blinking out there, Timmy Tim? You keep showing up in the green room, and just before I can click you in, you disappear again. It's great if you carry it all day to make a fair. Yeah, I bet. I don't know. I never have problems with StreamYards. I think it's awesome. There's Viking too. I forgot you were in here. You can jump in here too. Come on. get some people in here. So it's just me babbling. You guys don't want to listen to me babble. There he is. What's up, Timmy Tim?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can't see you. All we see is your frowny face. There he is.
Yeah. Wasn't planning. I mean, I have pants on, so wasn't planning on doing a video.
Well, I guess. Thanks for that information.
I was. Oh yeah, I actually have something cool to show. That's. It's got 3D printed stuff, but it's not. I didn't print them. The print quality is not that great, but.
Who cares?
If you guys go on my personal channel, which is what I was commenting on, there's a live stream I did.
Oh, someone's telling me about that. Is that like a clock or something?
Yeah, this is a Nixie clock. So that's the time, and it cycles through the date and everything. These tubes are actually probably almost as old as you are.
Yeah, they're probably older.
79. Oh, apparently I nicked my finger. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, 79, 84, 84, 84, and then 88 and 89.
Yeah,
so
those are the old tubes.
Yeah, these are Nixie tubes. My wife got me this as a kit, and by kit I mean everything, including the surface mount parts on this board. I had to solder, so I hand soldered all of these.
Yeah, but you're
parts
good anyway, so you do a lot of that.
I'm okay. It still took me 8 hours to get this built.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So this is 8 hours, and the funny thing is, do you guys know what that board is that's running it? Does that look familiar? Do you know what that is? It's not a Raspberry. It's a Arduino Mega 2560.
Oh, kind of the same difference. They're all little mini computers.
Yeah. So, 8 hours of soldering. It's got RGB on it too. So, and then I'm probably gonna work on this tonight. I got my new fuel pump for my K1300. So it took a crap. I gotta reconnect this hose to the actual housing that this mounts to. So that was fun.
You building that?
Huh?
You live stream building that clock?
Yeah, it's on my personal channel. I hit it on the TH3D one, but we went off on so many tangents. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna download this and put it on my personal one. So, but
last night, I was live streaming for New Year's, and they were talking about it, and I didn't.
Yeah, so I
live streamed it. They were, just talking to you, got in the thing.
Yeah, no, I live stream. I got everything done except for the columns with the two neons, the two columns, and then the base. So I finished all that offline, and it's on top of my computer tower now, and I'm just like sitting. I just sit here staring at it because it looks just so cool. Let me see here. Let me post a link to my personal channel in here. Where is it? I don't even think it has a URL.
My Christmas tree lights are still on.
Mine are probably on. I have them running for 8 hours after the sun goes down.
No, this is the first day of sun we've had. They're solar powered during this window. You can't really see them.
Oh. Can I... Here, can you...
They're solar powered, and we just haven't had sun in like a week.
Oh, here we go. So here... So there's a link to my personal channel. I posted it in chat.
Yeah,
so that's kind of where I post all my random stuff. But it's a 6 hour and 43-minute video.
Yeah, that's a little too long for me.
But we had people in there almost the entire time. Like it was crazy. And then I forgot to put a 5-volt regulator on, so it wasn't powering on. And then I forgot a couple of caps. To be fair, though, the directions that came with the kit and that were online were for a different PCB revision. So I was kind of guessing as to a lot of stuff. They did give me, did give me a full BOM for it. So you can see here, I was going through checking off all the parts that I had populated, and they actually gave me a full schematic of the PCB here. So, which is pretty neat. So, but Yeah, it was fun. I've been wanting one of these clocks for years and never bought one. And then it was one of those things like I wanted, but I kept forgetting to buy one. And then my wife picked out one, and she picked out exactly the one that I wanted because it's got the 6 segments. Because I want the second, so I can sit there and watch the tubes change.
That's why she's your wife, man.
So it's yeah, we were soldering. I think they were 0803s for the resistors. They were tiny, not the small stuff I've done, but I did a lot of them. It was a pain. I could have gotten my hot air out and then used I actually have solder paste here, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. So I did that with my hot
You got blood all over your hand.
Yeah, I saw that. I nicked it. It's dried now.
Yeah.
I had I was putting away some tools and I pinched my finger in the drawer and I didn't realize that it actually drew blood. So, but what I was gonna
bloody, man, you'd be bloody.
I am. I gotta clean my desk up. One of the things that works well for cleaning flux off of a board is isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush. It's great. You get it all loosened up and then you rinse it. Sure. So yeah, it's awesome. It's great that I plugged it in. There was no magic smoke.
Solder paste do?
What did someone say? Oh, what does solder paste do? So solder paste is literally like the name says. It's a paste. Okay, so this is in a syringe, and it's a paste. Okay, and what you do is you put this on the little pads on your board. You put the chip or component on, and that paste would hold it intact. And then if you're doing a bunch of them, or depending on what you have available, you could put in what's called a reflow oven, which would be a temperature controlled fancy toaster oven that heats the board up to a certain temp, and then the solder paste melts into solder and then attaches all the components. Or you can use a actual reflow wand. I don't know what the actual term is for it, but it looks like a soldering iron except it blows really hot air.
It's a hot air gun.
Yeah, I guess I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but it's a fancy hot air gun. It's a very high temp, adjustable flow, usually hot air gun. You would just then wave it over the chip back and forth, evenly hitting it up, and then that would do the same thing as putting it into a reflow oven. So you could also do a reflow plate. There's plates too, but there's a lot of different ways to skin the surface mount soldering goat. Or is that the term? Skin a goat? Yeah, there's multiple ways to skin a goat.
So I gotta figure out some crap I'm gonna do with this thing. Like how I'm gonna mount this.
Yeah, that looks like fun.
Yeah, this is more fun to me than
printing. That's lipstick on a pig right there.
Yeah. This thing actually, it was printing really well. It had one issue.
Then why'd you mess with it?
Well, it had an issue, which I discovered. The way ANET mounts this artificial E3D head, hot end, it doesn't fit. It's actually thinner than the E3D one. Or not E3D, I mean Reality one,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And when you mount it, and if you put a sock on it, which I did not know,
it hits the chassis. Or hits the plate.
Not only does it hit the chassis, when you tighten it up, it actually bent the frickin'
So, if you look at my E16 video, I ended up putting spacers behind it. I actually put a Creality hot end on there. Dog, get out of the garbage.
People don't realize.
Go.
You really shouldn't do that.
Go.
Because the way that whole Creality hot
do you want attention?
Is designed, it actually uses the gantry as a heat sink.
Yeah. Oh God.
It
I got slobber on my glasses.
Out of the heat sink into the gantry. It helps. It's not actually. It's a helper. Just
Send
like
help.
an old MK.
I'm being attacked.
At least I'm assuming it is. I'm not absolutely 100% sure. I'm just assuming it is there, but that the heat, or whatever you want to call it, the cold end is too small to actually work on its own. So it's got to be using the gantry bolt to dissipate some of that heat. The minute you take
I'm
it
sure
off,
there's some, I'm sure it's a negligible amount. I don't think it's doing that much.
you'd be surprised. Think about how an MK8 works. Just a big
Well, yeah,
aluminum
because it's
plate
through
with
that.
hand slapped on the side of it. It's the
I'm
same
not-
idea.
Not playing with you. Do you see this? Do you see this?
Yeah.
Pathetic.
I'm a dog. I'm
She's
a
like,
dog.
I got a
No.
toy. Throw my disgusting toy that's all slobbery. Oh god.
Yeah.
She's getting strong. She's gonna be 1 in February.
Puppies.
I gotta boop the snoot. Oh,
Puppies are really
boop the
cool when
snoot.
they're someone else's. I end up
She's-
with the whole carriage.
She's a good dog.
Exactly what I'm doing. Even light speed. This is it. It is now a Chimera. It's all built and mounted and ready to go. Now we just have to figure out how I'm going to attach my motors.
Well-
I got a pretty good idea. And
So-
how I'm going to attach the bleachers.
So there's a cool feature. If she doesn't let go of her toy, you just take your finger. Oh, you just try to put it in her ear. She lets it go.
Never thought of that.
She's like, "Oh, did you see that?" She was like, "Oh no, I see it coming." Oh, she was sleeping, and of course. Oh, I love having a dog again because I grew up with dogs. But dear God, having glasses on a dog, you gotta like dodge that snout because otherwise you gotta clean them off.
Smudged.
Oh, I hate smudged glasses. Hate
Oh,
it.
dude, my neighbor, they've got a dog just maybe a little bit older than that. It's a white lab.
Oh, labs are good dogs. They're crazy.
Yeah.
They're absolutely crazy.
I mean, it's a mutt, but it's basically a
Yeah.
white dog. But it's a freaking tank. I mean, it's a tank. This thing, he is beefy. I mean, he knocks me right over. If he comes up and does his, how puppies come and clip your leg when you're running around,
Yeah.
he will knock you right on your ass. There is no standing up if he clips your kneecap.
Yeah, she's
But anyway,
okay.
he goes to get the ball out of his mouth, and she leaned down to say something real close to him, and she was talking to him or something, and he let go of the ball and brought his head up, knocked 6 of her front teeth right out. Freaking
That's rough. That's rough.
That's a big ass dog.
How much does that dog weigh? Clara's already
No, I mean he's not tall. He's just
big.
Bale.
She's doing really good. She's very protective of my wife, and she's very protective of the house. Like sometimes when she barks, even I'm like, "Oh, she sounds kind of intimidating," like, which is good. But she's a big baby. She's a big freaking baby. My buddy goes because my friend I got her from, he actually had a couple puppies that they were still selling. And he's like, I like shepherds. He's like, but I don't think I get one from her litter. I just don't like her temperament. I was like, what do you mean? She's a sweetheart. He's like, yeah, it's a problem. She's too nice. He's like, I'd want a guard dog. Look at this vicious dog. The funny thing is, if I try it, I'm gonna try to do it.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like if I showed up at your house and started smacking you around, how quickly that dog would attack my head.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I act like I steal her nose. Oh, I got it. Look at. She does not like it. She's like, give me my nose back. Do you want? I got your nose. Ready?
She just thinks you got
Go get it.
It's a dog.
I do that to her all the time. She falls
I
for
know.
it. She's like, where's my
Yeah.
nose?
My neighbor's dog is that way too. You fake throw the ball and he takes off looking for it.
Where's your nose?
I gotta disconnect all this crap. I should probably be doing that. It was my original.
I do have an Ortor printer that like I bought that I intended on building. Ortor, I gotta look up the model number. It just says
Never even heard of it.
the box over there says Ortor 4. ORTUR. I got it for really cheap, which is why I bought it, and it's been in the box. But I also could jump off here in a little bit and go organize my tools because I just picked up a new toolbox from Harbor
There's
Freight.
still in there.
Let's see. What are this? I have no idea what even the specs are even on this thing.
Did not know there was
I do
still
know it has linear guides on it. It's not V-slot wheels. It's all linear shit. What what is it?
Like real linear slides or
not rails, they're guide rails. They're like the ones with the 3 wheels inside. You know what I'm talking about? They're like rollers, or like brass rollers.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the print size on it
they're
is
like bearing. They're round ball bearing.
Yeah.
Use.
Yeah, so slightly better than the V slot. I don't hate V slot. I like V slot.
I like V slot a lot.
There's guys that are like, I'm converting everything to linear rails. I was like, well, you're gonna be disappointed because it's not gonna be a night and day difference. Like,
no,
it's not.
There is not enough difference in one of these to deal with linear rails. I mean, it's not bad if you do it. I've thought about doing it. It's just.
You're doing it just to do it. I mean, I totally get that. So everybody, don't get hate at me because I'm like, it's pointless. No, I am totally. I've calmed it down less.
For you, but I don't see a justification of the cost.
So I used to be overkill everything, and now that I'm older and have less free time, I'm like, I'm just gonna make it work well, and I'll upgrade as things fail. My priorities changes because when I first started doing 3D printing, it was get a printer and go balls to the wall on it, just upgrade. Now I'm like, okay, let's just correct a few little issues, throw some bed leveling on it, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Like, and then when the hot end dies, maybe I'll put the same one on, or maybe I'll upgrade it. If the extruder, dies, maybe I'll put a new one that replace it with the same one, or maybe I'll upgrade it. Your methodology change, especially when you're dealing with we've got 72 machines here now, so it's kind of like when we have like the only standardized machines we have are ABS farm, and they're all under 3s. So we did upgrades to those, but like stuff that makes sense. Nothing crazy. We're actually still even running the factory control boards because I don't give a crap about the noise in the print farm. That room is loud anyways. So I'm surprised their boards have been printing for almost a year inside those enclosures, and they haven't died yet. So their stock boards with the 4988s are halfway decent at least.
I cannot believe I did not put on here. I put connectors on everything so I can disconnect it and not have to deal with wiring harnesses. And I never put a connector on this. It is the Frown King, so.
Yeah, I used to do connectors, and I just stopped. I just solder everything.
I have to have connectors. It drives me nuts.
Nope, I don't care. I don't like the bulk. Steven Lightspeed said, Tim, what do you think about printing your own leads for your nuts? That's dumb. Just buy a nut. Like, your plastic's going to wear out way faster than the brass would. So that printer, the Ortor that's sitting over there is 260.
Yeah, I like the Delron ones for that.
I've messed with those. I haven't. They all work. Like the brass ones, the Delrons.
They get rid of all the backlash if you do it right.
Yeah, that's a good point. If their tolerances are correct, that's the thing.
Well, that's just it. You can make them. I actually get them cut tight and then make them. If you put them on the lead screw right, they'll wear in. Yeah,
you almost want them a little too tight.
You can cut it basically.
Yeah. So the Ortor is 260 by 310 by 305. So like 10 1/4 by 12 by 12 roughly. So that's not bad. 24 volt. It's got a 12864 LCD. I did see they have a little cheap inductive probe on there, so it does have auto bed leveling. I don't feel like building a printer tonight. Probably do that on our TH3D channel one of these nights. I was gonna try to see if I could, because the wireless mic packs I have, supposedly they can hook up to an Android phone, and I was gonna stream working on my bike on my personal channel and just mic myself, just have my phone on like a little tripod out there. Right. So, but I got everything, the gas tanks all off. What started all of the maintenance on it was I went to, because I usually fire them up once a month and go putter around the neighborhood and just bring them back so they're not sitting. Well, went to go do that with this one because we had some nice weather and it wouldn't turn over. So the battery is low, so I topped it off. It was only like it's only a year and a half old, so it's not that old of a battery, and it's a good AGM. So I don't cheap out on batteries on my vehicles. Anyways, charged up the battery, still wouldn't turn over. I thought the voltage was dropping a little bit. It was like 10.7 when I cranked it, which I later found out was normal. But I did try swapping the battery out, and that didn't do it. And then I was like, well, I thought I had like an ECU tool floating around here that I bought when I got the bike because it's a 2010 BMW K1300S and it's got computerized everything. So they have a proprietary connector that BMW uses when you bring it in to plug their computers into it. And a third party made this tool that actually connects to the Wi-Fi or USB, and you can do the same stuff the dealer could in terms of computer access. So I dug that out, set that up, and plugged it in. And there's actually the pump controller actually has an overcurrent detection, and so what it was doing was because the pump was seized up, it was detecting an overcurrent condition and shut the pump down, and it threw a code. So I was like, okay, and jumped online, started Googling the code, and people were like, yep, your fuel pump took a crap. They said, if you got the GS 911 tool, which is what I have, there's a thing where you can actually turn the fuel pump on manually. So with the fuel pump disconnected, I turned it on and then checked the output voltage on the controller, and I was getting 12.5 volts at the controller, so the controller was working. Thank God, because that's a $600 part. Yeah, BMW for the OEM pump, which is actually made by Bosch, they wanted $400 for a fuel pump. So this is a third party one that a lot of the guys on the BMW bike forums recommended. I think it's Quantum is the company that makes it, but got really good feedback, and it was under $100. So, and it came with a new strainer filter. And then I was putting this all together, and I found another video where there's actually a fuel filter in the cap that goes into the tank that this whole assembly mounts to, and there's a filter in there, and it's not replaceable. It's not a replaceable fuel filter. It's integrated into this housing, and that housing is over $400. So this guy showed using like fuel injector cleaner. I use Seafoam. You let it sit in there, you shake it up, agitate it, flush it out, shake it up. You do that about 6 times so it runs clear. The amount of shit that came out of that was crazy, how much dirt was trapped in there. So, but I got that cleaned out now. I got the new pump mounted. I tested the new pump. It turns and everything. We're good. I just shot 12 volts in it really quick, make sure it turned. So I think we'll be good. I just got to put it together. But yeah, Greg says, like they say, a BMW is under warranty as the most expensive vehicle on the road. Yeah, that's why we'll never buy their cars. A motorcycle, if it's down, whatever. But there's a lot of aftermarket stuff for this particular model, and all their K bikes share a lot of parts, so it's really easy to find replacement parts for them, and even used parts. So I do all my own work on my vehicles for the most part. The only thing I didn't do recently was a few lines on my HHR because I didn't have time. But I got a local guy here that I met in the new town we live in Indiana that does really good work, and it's just a little family-owned shop, and they could do a good job, and their pricing's fair. So, but they don't do motorcycles, nor would I even bother taking these over there. I can tear them apart and do it myself. So, but I'm quickly finding as I'm getting more tools, I ran out of space in the one toolbox I had, so I went to Harbor Freight and picked up another one of their tool chests, so I got to organize that now. Hey, look, it's an X gantry bar.
Yeah, this is the one I put on there. It's an actual V-groove.
Yeah, I did that on my E10, and then I put a CR10 carriage on it.
Because, yeah, if you got the E10, you had the same thing. It's a single bearing, single T-groove piece of crap.
Yeah, they didn't use the right bearings on those either for the T-slot.
No, they're super sloppy.
They're very sloppy.
Not only that, with this one, which is what I really hate about it, is there's no eccentric nut. It's a slide. And it's a one-sided...
Oh, you kept their factory carriage. I put a CR10 carriage on mine.
Yeah, I was getting ready to, and then, Chimera came along. So, screw the CR10 carriage. I was getting ready to put a CR10 carriage. Thinking of that, did you use their stock hot end?
No, I have a Titan Arrow on there.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like I said when I originally started all this, the A-net, even though it looks like a CR10 hot end, is not. It's a little bit smaller. The holes don't line up the same.
Yeah, it's slightly off. They would have been better just sourcing even a clone of the CR10 hot end and a clone of their carriage.
Yeah, but it's A-net. They don't give a shit.
They're starting to give more shits. Oh, speaking of which,
They are.
I wonder if they're going to be at Murph this year because we just bought our tickets, so we're going to have 2 booths at Murph. So we'll have 2 10x10 booths.
Wow. This is an excuse. I can't believe this thing was printing that well.
Is that bearing all screwed up?
Well, it's like I would call it.
Is it grinding or is it really
I would say
stiff?
it's a little gritty.
Gritty?
You know what else I just noticed? It's rubbing up against the clip for this. Very, very minor. That might be what it is. It's actually rubbing up against the clip right here.
See, that's why I put when I switched it over to V. Well, when I switched, I noticed that everything was getting hard to align, so I just put a CR10 carriage on the Tiny Machines. I think their site's tinymachines3d.com. You can get a CR10 carriage for like $5. So I bought
You don't you?
What's that?
Don't you have them in your store?
No, I don't sell any OEM parts. We carried their hot ends for a while, but no one really bought them, so we clearanced them out, and we don't carry those anymore.
Yeah, there's not much left on this thing that's original.
I mean, if I carried Creality's fans, I have a lot of repeat business every 3 to 4 months instead of selling ones that are actually decent.
There's that.
I was joking. I was like, for recurring revenue, my business model is not very good because I don't sell a lot of stuff that's prone to failure. So, in terms of repeat purchases,
I'm sorry, that's a better business model.
I know it's but I wonder how many people have bought the same shitty Chinese fans on Amazon and they rebuy them every 3 to 4 months.
A lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I did that a couple times. I'm like, there's got to be. I'm gonna find.
Did too when I first started.
Yeah.
When I first started with my little M3D Micro.
Oh god, that printer sucks.
I bought an M3D Micro for myself for a Christmas present. Oh god, 6-7 years ago, whenever they came out. I bought it for Christmas. I never got, for one, it got returned 3 times. And the one thing I will say, if you emailed them and you sent them a video and it wasn't working, they'd say send it back, pay for the shipping. They sent me a new one every time. I got 3 brand new printers from them.
Yeah, well, the problem is that printer was terrible.
I bought it in mid-December. I got it actually before Christmas. I never, ever printed a single thing until after mid-March.
So my first experience with a 3D printer was my friend had my friend that lived above me when we were in the condo had the Mod T, which was crap, and the M3D Micro, and he never used them. So I always go up there and like, dude, why aren't you playing with them? Because I was always curious about it, and I was up there and we were just hanging out, having some drinks. I was like, can I borrow the M3D? So he was like, sure. So he gave me one of their little rolls of filament in the printer, and I got prints off of it, and I was just fascinated with it. And then I was like, quickly hitting limitations with it, and then I bought an ANET A8.
Well, I bought that, and then I started, actually playing with it. About March, I finally got it to actually start printing. Because the first 2 I got, I literally turned them on, literally hit the power button, and the head would zoom, would home, and then it would come out to the middle, heat up, and just drop into the build plate.
Yeah, they're auto leveling.
The hole right through that plastic build plate.
They're auto up. I got the dog's nose again. Whoa.
You know how they're auto home works? There's no sensors.
Right. It just detects. It's like what the Trinamics do with the sensors home.
Anything. It's all timing.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. It assumes you're at the farthest distance, and it runs that motor till it knows it would travel that 100.
On X and Y that may be correct, but I don't think on Z they did have something with auto leveling on Z.
Yeah, they did something with Z, but the X and Y, because if you ever homed one and the head's like halfway in the bed,
it skips. And it's like, yeah. Yeah.
And they told me, because it's by time. I could never figure it out. And then I went on their little forums. It's like, yeah, it's all just by time. The motor's weak enough, and it's built the way it's built, so it can sit there and do that all day long, and it doesn't hurt the motor. I'm like, yeah, but everything else in that printer is getting damaged.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember though, at the time when that was released, the A8 wasn't out, you know, and then the A8 was like one of the first mass-produced affordable kits for a while. So it was like that was really all you had, and that's why I ended up buying an ANET A8 because there was no Ender 3. There was G-Tech wasn't even around.
Yeah,
like
but
there was.
Top was Max Micron was. Higtop was actually the first ANET.
Well, Higtop bought ANETs and rebranded them. And there was also a Lunar. There was another company called Lunar.
Was out before ANET.
Well,
my Max Micron and Higtop are the same company.
Higtop resold the A8s under their own brand and their own
they did a lot
name.
of that reselling.
Yeah, they did that with the CR10 too.
But they were out first.
The Max Micron, I haven't heard of that one. I haven't really looked at.
It was a Higtop.
Let me look. Is that the actual model name? Is the Max Micron?
Was they did like three. What made Max Micron back in the day is mine.
I found a Thingiverse link from 2006 from Tom Lama on Thingiverse, and it's your review.
Yep.
On a channel called Little Quadcopter.
Yep. Yeah, that was before I even started actually doing 3D printing. It was when I was doing my quad. That's what I bought it for. Is to do quad. I bought it to build quadcopter parts.
Oh, that is rough.
Yeah, the Max Micron was. What made Max Micron, and people still don't realize it, Max Micron had a folding suitcase 3D printer way back then. My printer, you can get it folding. It's literally the same printer. There's a full 2020 frame, which everyone's doing now. They were doing it back then. And basically the Z gantry was on a big hinge. And you just raise
this one that I'm looking at a video on right now?
Back and you could fold the thing down.
This one I'm looking at a video for right now?
What?
The Max Micron has that?
They had one back then, yeah.
Oh, they had an option. Okay.
Yeah, it was an option. You could also get dual color back then, too. When I bought my Max Micron, they had a dual color head.
Yeah, that website, Max Micron, is not even in existence anymore.
Yeah, they don't even exist anymore.
I'd never heard of them. So, yeah, this was like a straight up, like, OG kit.
What?
This machine, like that was like someone pieced that together. Someone pieced that together with extrusions and parts and everything.
No, it was.
I like your. Did that come with the wooden spool holder, or is that your creation?
That was my creation. That's so actually that was my prop balancer from my quadcopters originally.
Yeah, they were talking about when we were building the when I was building the clock, they were talking about quads. And someone was like, yeah, you got to balance your props. I was like, I've never done that. I've just slapped them on there.
Yeah, no, you can balance your props. It makes it... It really doesn't matter if you're just flying around. But if you're like trying to do video and stuff, it definitely stable. You know, you get less shimmy.
Yeah, I got my 250. It's sitting right there. You can see it right, literally right where my finger is pointing at.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of these.
I don't even know what those are. I'm still pretty green when it comes to drones. I know how to build them.
This is actually the same quadcopter. This is when you buy it, and this is after I've owned it for a month.
Yeah, you just stripped it off.
Because it ends up being 3D printed, because I smashed the crap out of it.
Yeah, the one I have is, I think it weighs half a pound, or it's 550 grams? Does that sound right? Yeah, 550 grams.
Yeah.
That's what mine came in.
In today's world, this is a super cheapo. Back when I first got it, it was like the latest, greatest, because it's brushed motors, it's little. But it is, this thing, even today, for this size and a brushed motor, this thing is freaking fast.
Yeah, I have my throttle set so I can only go 70% on mine till I get better at flying it, because I put some, they're not like high-end motors, but they're decently high kV motors for that drone, and it just wants to go, because one of the motors is burnt up because I was setting up beta flight, and for some reason the ESC just sent one of the motors to full blast and it burnt up the motor in like 2 seconds. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I replaced the whole, like, I had a really crappy, it was open, or not what the hell was it? It was a CC3D. It was a really old F1 controller, and I have F4 controller in there with like 30 amp ESCs. So, yeah, it's a ZMR 250. So, but it's now cold out, and the ground is either very mushy because the snow melted, or there's snow on the ground out right now. So I'm not flying it. I put bigger than 1800. It came with 1800 kVs. I think I have 2500s on there. I want to say, and I'm running a 3S battery on it. I'll tell you right now. Hang on, let me go to Amazon and see what motors. They're just some cheap ones at Amazon. I think it was like Craze Pony was the brand.
This whole printer is built out of like cheap steel. It's not even aluminum. It's like not even good steel. I can just take it and bend it with my finger.
Maybe I ordered on my other account. Hang on.
What a piece of junk.
You know, it's probably easier just to look at the damn thing.
It will save all my screws and wheels that are good. I don't think that wheel's bad. I think it's just rubbing.
Yeah, so 2200, yeah, 2200 kVs. I'm gonna cover this up because my phone number's on here.
The right size.
I got my phone number on the if found FAA label, but just in case I forget, I have a label on the bottom here, Tom.
What's that? Oh, that's a little racer quad.
This side goes down. So I've got GPS on it. That's what this module is. There's my VTX. I'm running a Spectrum serial receiver on here, and I've got a DX6 and a DX9 for the transmitter. And then I got a little F4 stack here. And then this is
a $100 piece of craps and smash and crash them into trees and then 3D print the bottom.
This went into a tree that was about 4 stories up and went all the way down, and all I broke was one of my little TPU feet.
Oh, you want to see something funny? I think I still got it. No. Oh yeah, it's over there. Looks similar to this. These are the ones I used to fly on all the time. These things are just.
Oh, it's not it's a little bigger than a tiny whoop, but it's still a smaller one.
They're about the size of a tiny whoop, but same idea. I used to fly these all the time just for fun, outside, in the wind. It was crazy. Well, one day I was flying it.
Here, I got a crappy one right here.
It's not actually crappy. Well,
I mean, this is like there's like nothing to this. It was like $20.
But these are like 10 or 15. But I got one stuck in the tree, right outside my window, and we had a snowstorm. And I don't know if you realize, but if you get one of these stuck in a tree and it's running, those stupid LED lights will blink for days.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bed every night, staring out my bedroom window at this thing blinking in the tree. And then we had a freaking massive snowstorm and a windstorm. And all of a sudden I looked out one night and it's not blinking. I'm like, what the hell? I guess the battery finally died. But I couldn't get to it. It was too far up in the tree. So I go out and it's literally like right above where our newspaper box is.
Yeah.
So I go out to get the newspaper box and I happen to just look down and there's this perfect quadcopter print in the snow. I'm like, no freaking way. So I started digging and there it was. Freaking dropped off the tree in the wind.
So that
it never ran. It got sucked up and wet. I don't think I've ever run it since then. But it's down there in the box.
That cheap one. I noticed that the thing with the ones that are super light and super cheap, the wind likes to take them away very easily because they have no weight to them.
Yeah.
And the second time I flew that cheap one out, I got it stuck in a tree, and I luckily was able to push the motors up and get it to like burst itself enough to get it out, because I was like, well, it was only $20. I had a good 2 flights out of that. But it still works.
Robbie Mack was talking about it. He bought like a, not an expensive one, but it was like $100, $110. Semi-fancy, kind of a DJI knockoffy. It's cheaper than a DJI, but, it's a decent $100. He said he turned it on, set it up the GPS, brought it up in the air, and the thing just went straight up in the air and then took off. Never seen it again. He flew it for a minute.
I think this one works. I have the batteries charged. Let's see. Which is the front on this? That's the front. Oh no! Oh no!
Get it, no.
Oh, it's gonna get you.
I need a box. Where's my box? I had a spare box for just this that I was saving. What the hell did I do with it? Oh, you know what? I think I threw it out. You dumb.
This thing is so like floaty when you fly it.
Oh, I know what those are.
This does have there's a camera on this, and I think wait, there's an SD card in here. What the hell?
They don't record.
I didn't even notice this. I've had this for like a year.
Dude, you want to learn how to fly a quadcopter? Like how to really learn how to fly a quadcopter? You buy one of these little $15 minis.
You fly it in the house?
At the micros, but a mini. And you turn on your ceiling fan, and you try and hover underneath your ceiling fan.
It sounds like a good way to damage your ceiling fan.
Nah. You just hover underneath it. The ceiling fan keeps making it go near.
I haven't flown FPV yet, but I do have.
I'm gonna get FPV pretty soon.
Here, I do have these. These are Ishins. These are garbage. Don't buy these unless you're just being cheap. And this is like the Creality of goggles, because I had to open this up. I had to open this up and solder some things on here because one of the antennas wasn't even fully fucking soldered.
Yeah, no.
But it works now. It works great. It's got a DVR. So if you guys go on my personal channel, you can see back in October when I was screwing around, I recorded all my flights with this. I wasn't flying FP. I was flying line of sight. But you can see there was one where I cut it a little too hard and lost control, and then it hit the ground and the battery ejected. So that was fun.
That happened.
But yeah, here, look at this. This is
look at how much play is in this thing.
I just realized this. Look at this controller. Look at. I'm assuming.
There's a lot of play in that gantry.
You should probably fix that.
Insane.
Does this adjust, or am I just stuck with?
I
feel like this looks like a cell phone now. Oh, hang on. There's a button here. Hey, look at that. I'm worried about I have to put some Chinese app on here that's probably going to hijack my phone to use this, though. But, I mean, I got this on a deal for like $20 on, I think it was Snagshot, one of those like Amazon deal sites. And I was like, for $20? Why not? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and I had another one that took the same kind of batteries that died.
I've actually been looking at one of those. Ishin has a whole, like, micro FPV kit with the glasses and everything for like $120 now. And everyone's like, it's a piece of junk. But, and I mean, these are like, you know, big fanatical dudes. They're like, but if you're looking to get into it, it's a place to start and it works. It's the first of the, you know, sub 200 that does work. You know, nothing's great about it, but everything actually works. And that's
I mean, like you saw, this thing flies. It flies. It's not fast. It's not great, but it flies.
Yeah,
like
it's just fun.
I mean, this I can hand to somebody and be like, here, fuck around with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if like, oh no, you're crashing. Yeah, I really couldn't care less about this. I'm looking at this. These motors are actually geared to get more. That's funny.
It's basically the same thing I was just holding up. Same.
Yeah, I just realized there's gearing in here, so they geared these to increase the torque on them.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's geared to increase the speed, not the torque.
Well, yeah, that would make sense. Either way, it flies. It was $20. So if I lose this, I'll be a little annoyed, but I'm gonna mostly just be like, well, at least it was $20 and not $600. Yeah. I think I'm into my other one for about $600.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to do that because I'll just crash and burn.
That was over the period of time. It wasn't like I dropped $600 right away. I bought the DX, so the box to the left of that ZMR 250 that I showed earlier, that's a DX9. I actually bought it from David Petzel, who does the Petsfang. Because I think he bought.
Make your corner. I probably missed a lot of people coming in. Haven't really been paying attention to the chat. Sorry, guys.
I think he bought a different one or he had extras, but either way, he gave me a really good deal on the DX9 with the LiPo pack already in it. So I was like, well, I'd like to have a couple extra channels. So, because my DX6, I only got 6 channels. It's got 9, so I can do some more accessories because I got RGB LEDs. I got addressable LEDs on my drone.
I can't get the frickin' thing out of the motor. The grub screw's loose, but the what do you call it? Connector thingy, spring thingy. Why am I having a brain?
The coupler, the lead screw coupler.
Yeah. The spring coupler will release from the motor.
There's usually 2 grub screws. There's usually 2 grub screws on there. Did you get both of them?
No, it's an 8. There's only one. Oh, there is 2. You're absolutely right. I just didn't see it in the back corner. That would be why.
What would you do without me, Tom?
Well, it didn't need that. So I wasn't expecting them to go that far. You know?
That extra 1 cent for that extra grub screw.
Yeah. Well, it is, again, it's ENAC. So.
Yeah, I got my other drone all registered with the FAA because it's at the
this
weight
is what
limit.
they replaced V-Groove with, is this little plastic nylon-y crappy wheel.
Yeah, I don't like those. But you know what? As long as if you get them off the X, that's like where they really don't work well. If you on the Z, they're not ideal, but they work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the stupid slider attentioner. I mean, it slips free like every time within like 3 prints. Everything's loose and wobbling. I am thinking about keeping this little bracket here and just using the lead screw bracket, just screwing it onto the 2020, putting a couple holes in it. It's like super cheap. It's not aluminum. It's super, super cheap sheet metal. And it's all like I can just crush it with my finger. Sad. So sad. I think that's all I'm going to do with it tonight.
Sorry, my mic wouldn't unmute. My wife popped in.
Hi, wife.
I'm on headphones. She can't hear you.
I know.
But yeah, I'm gonna jump off anyways because I really should be getting my garage cleaned up, and I need to get all the screws I took off the motorcycle into a magnetic tray, so I don't lose any. Hey, it's relatively straight.
I mean, it's really straight, like amazingly straight.
The one I got on my AA Plus was about as straight as Elton John.
I got the other one straight too, though, because it looks bowed.
Yeah, I had one or two were wonky. The E16 I had actually had straight lead screws. So, but the thing is, on that printer, because there's more potential slop in those wheels, you want to make sure your lead screws are straight so that doesn't transfer into your print.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing that kills me though is they spend all the time, energy, and money to make this 2020 frame, which is decent. I mean, if nothing else, it's a good frame. Good 2020 frame, just like any. But
it's T-slot. They did learn because the E16 and the A8 Plus are T-slot now, so they did learn. But the funny thing is, there's no V rollers on the A8 Plus, but they still use V-slot on it. But the E16 is all V-slot, so they are listening to people's feedback. Because if they weren't, they wouldn't have switched over to V-slot from T-slot from the last gen.
I think you'll find V-slot has become more of a standard, so it's easier to get a hold of. Everybody's going to V-slot now.
Well, V-slot. So the E10 and the E12 were like what I would call their last gen. Their current gen is the E16 and the A8 Plus. So like the E10 and E12 are not being made anymore. Right. The E16 and the AA Plus are what are being made, and in my opinion, they fixed a lot of issues and addressed a lot of issues and improved the stock main board. Still a Melzi board, but they improved the board a lot based on feedback, and they have thermal runaway protection based on all the feedback. So I mean, they are being more active. I feel like they had this lull between the A8 and the E16 and the A8 Plus, where they had the E10, the E12, where they weren't taking feedback from the 3D printing community, where they just did whatever they wanted to crank out cheap shit, and it backfired. So they're like, yeah, maybe there is something to actually engaging with the community. And so they have been doing more engagement, and then they released the source code like they should have. So they had like this period of like a year and a half, 2 years where it was just like no one was talking about them. No one was buying their printers. They weren't releasing source code. Like they were pretty much dead. And then they came back, and they're halfway decent now. The thing they have going for them.
Live stream not too long ago.
Yeah, I did the E16. It's in our farm, and the stock hot end printed fine. I wanted to put a sock on it, and I couldn't, so I swapped the hot end for a Creality one. Because like you said, it hits if you put a sock on it, it hits the carriage.
Yeah.
So
the thing's smaller.
So I swapped it out, but overall for I think it's like $299, you get a 300 by 300 by 400 printer. It's not bad. If you take it as some of its parts for that price, it's not a bad machine.
Yeah, but again, it's not a bad machine. But to make it a halfway decent machine, you have to spend another $100. So you might as well just spend another $100 to get the Creality.
I don't even know what the CR10s go for anymore. Let me check on their actual site. Hang on.
Or something else. I really want to try the Alpha Wise. I know I've heard mixed. Some people really like it, and some people really hate them.
So my U10, my gripe about it is it didn't have, now that printer, I want to say it's almost 2 years old now, and that didn't have eccentrics, but they did luckily adjust everything to where there's proper pressure on the wheels. It's not too much, not too little. But my U10 has been pretty decent. The board did take a crap on it about 3 months ago, but that was after over a year of fairly heavy use. Okay, so the CR10. Now, here's what makes it difficult, and here's where the waters get murky. The CR10, which is the single lead screw version, is $379. The E16 is dual lead screws. To get dual lead screws, you got to step up to the CR10S, which I don't think they're even selling anymore. I don't think they're selling the S model anymore. I think they just have the CR10. It's not even on their site. So to get dual lead screws in the Creality platform in the 300 by 300 by 400 size, you would have to step up to the V2. Where is it? Hang on. Or the Pro. You can go with the Pro or the V2. The Pro right now on their site is $566, and the CR10S V2 is $499. So you'd have to step up to a $500 machine to get the dual lead screws. Now, obviously, there's other improvements on the CR10 V2.
Buy an artillery sidewinder and be done.
Yeah, you would want to look at other brands though if you don't want to step up to like the $400 or $500 price bracket.
Right, I think the artillery sidewinder is like the key printer right now in that.
Yeah, let me see. So that's $399 is what those are going for. So $100 more will get you. That I think that had dual lead screws if I'm correct.
Would you have a couple of ones there for like $200? $300 you had them.
I had their AL4, which was the one that came out before the sidewinder. That had a regular 128/64 touchscreen or not a touchscreen, sorry, had a regular LCD and MKS Gen L, and the sidewinder is what came out after that.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, so I'm looking.
It's pretty much the same printer as far as I'm concerned.
No, they're vastly different. Totally different setups. The only thing they really share is the control board. They both use an MKS Gen L, but the X1 is a whole new design. Completely different machine. The only thing I've heard bad about the X1s that I've heard consistently that people do not like is the fact that the ribbon cables. The ribbon cables, they look nice, but I think I'm willing to bet. I put money on it that if you go back and watch my X1 stream, I definitely made a comment on that's going to be a weak point of the printer. And I see a lot of people having failures with them. Ribbon
cables are not made to continuously flex. They're made
to there are ribbon cables that are made continuously flex. There's been like, if we're talking about stuff that's moving all the time, many inkjet printers use a ribbon cable, and that head moves just as fast, if not faster than a 3D printer. Not for as long of time, but it's still the same type of motion.
Yep,
the problem is with the connectors. It's not the cable, it's the connectors. They're not using connectors that are withstanding that high stress, because as it's moving, it's putting the stress in like this direction. Basically, if you were just wiggling the cable back and forth all the time, They should have some sort of, I mean, if they don't want to upgrade the connectors, they should have it so they have like a printed part or even metal bracket that goes on there to keep pressure on the connector so the connector doesn't move on the circuit board.
Even some kind of like rubber bandy thing just to bungee it down so it can't wiggle free.
No, that's not it. What I'm saying is the connector itself, the ribbon cable goes into fails.
Like
so they need to have something to keep pressure on it so it doesn't open up and release the cable.
When we used to build dragsters, we used to do that with the car clips. We had like I want to say a bungee cord, but it's really not. That would go over the connector and just trap it down.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There needs to be something. There needs to be something to put pressure on it. I'm on GearBest right now.
It keeps it in the socket. The plug can't come out of the socket that way.
I'm on GearBest right now. They got the Anycubic Photon on sale right now for $279. I have that resin printer. That's a nice printer. I've had no actual issues with that printer.
I really don't have any interest in resin printing. It's too messy.
It is very messy. I have two. I have the Monoprice and the Anycubic.
If I had a shop like you where I could put it, sure. I don't have a place.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't even have room in my shop for the resin printers. They're in my office on a little table over here. My shop's pretty full up right now.
I think I'm done with this thing for the night. So it's going back in its corner.
We just thought we got our, my dad came over, so I had a contractor come out and do the underground gas line to get that into the shop. So we got gas line run from the house to the shop, and my dad and I put an 80,000 BTU furnace in there.
Cool.
So we can stop using the heat pumps to heat, which are very expensive to use as heaters because electricity costs.
I mean, they're more expensive than a standard heater, but they're better than some things.
Right. It still costs me more to heat the shop with electricity than it does to heat it with gas.
Yeah, with a heat pump. They're actually saying electricity now, like a lot of your electric baseboards are actually one of the cheaper nowadays.
So, yeah, so like
at the moment, because the gas and oil prices are higher.
So when we went from, oh God, there's a lot of noise. When we transitioned from running the air conditioners all the time, so we had we had 4 AC units running. We had our house one, the one in my office, and then 2 in the shop. So now the house, since we're not running the air conditioners, we're just running gas for heat instead of cooling. Our bill dropped almost $200 a month, but we're still at like $560 a month. So, and I keep forgetting to order. I keep meaning to put, get like the power monitor clamps, the CT clamps to put in the box that connect back to my smart home system so I can actually monitor our shop's power usage and see what our house is pulling. Because we have a 200 amp service going to the house, and then 100 of that's fed to the shop.
Well, see, we're all electric here. This house is all electric heat, electric hot water, electric everything. Which, not my choice, but that's the way it is. But when you do all electric, at least here in Connecticut.
What do you pay per kilowatt hour?
Huh?
What do you pay per kilowatt hour?
Well, that's what I was getting to. We get a wicked discount because we're on a monthly program. I pay $400 a month year round. That's it, flat. That's my electric bill.
See, that's pretty high because so my electric bill, like to give you my parents' electric bill is like
saying I'm live.
Even in the summer, like my parents' house, which is like about 1,500 square feet. Your standard it's like a bi-level. I think their electric bill is like $160 a month in the summer, and it's under $100 a month in the winter.
Yeah, but then the oil bill and your gas.
So when I was in our condo, which was a 1,500 square foot, 2-bed, 2-bath, before we had the business, so before I was running 3D printers, I had servers running too. My electric bill was about $130, $140 a month in the summer, and it was about $90 a month in the winter. My gas bill in the winter was $30 a month.
So you're $130 for a little apartment. This is a big ass house.
How many square feet?
Huh?
How many square feet?
Oh shit! 3 floors, 32 by 24.
There's calculators for a reason. 32 by 24 times 3, so 1,700 square feet.
Yep.
Oh wait, no, hang on. I did 24 by
That's more
24.
than that.
32 times 24 is 768 times 3, so 2,300. So
Yeah.
you're
Plus
about
the garage, which I'm not
Yeah.
using, but there's electric out there.
Yeah, so you're about 750 square feet larger than me. That seems pretty high. Our electric here in Indiana is actually higher than when we were in Illinois. We're paying about 17 cents a kilowatt hour out here.
Yeah, I think I'm at like 9 or 10.
Well, I think we were at 8 or 9 in Illinois when we were there.
Don't forget, this is also a 1970s house with 2x4 walls, not 2x6 insulation.
I don't know if
Well-
ours. I don't know if this house. I think this house is 2x6s. This is
Yeah,
This was
but-
built in '03. The house we're in.
Definitely 2x6. That's federal code for insulation. You build 2x6 not for structure, but for insulation.
Yeah, the insulated this house real. There's like 16 inches of blow in on, like the garage is insulated the same as the house.
That's
For the ceiling. So they did the same blow in throughout the whole garage. The walls on the garage have like just bat insulation. In the house on the outside walls, they have that stuff where they put that sheeting over it and then blow it into the walls. So it's like that white blow-in stuff in the walls.
yeah.
So
My neighbor's house is a little bit bigger, not a lot. It's about 2 feet longer and a couple feet wider. Same basic layout, 3 floors. Their electric bill is about $120 a month year round, pretty much. It goes up in the summer because of air conditioning, but it's around $120 a month.
yeah, it's the same.
Their oil bill last month, it was extra cold last month. Their oil bill was $800.
Like you guys have actual oil
Yeah.
or gas?
They have oil heat.
Okay, yeah. Oil is
Most
always
of
more
America is
expensive.
Oil, not gas.
Yeah, oil is more expensive to run than gas because we have natural gas. Basically, the rule of thumb typically has been if you can heat with natural gas, you should heat with natural gas because
Yeah.
it's not now natural gas heating is not as efficient as electric heat, but it's cheaper.
Right.
So the fuel source, or the energy, is cheaper for natural gas versus electricity.
And that also
So-
depends on the area. We have pretty cheap electricity considering there's a nuclear power plant about a mile that way.
Yeah.
I literally have Millstone Power Plant. You can see it out my window.
Yeah, but I think the highest we've got almost up to 800 a month in the summer when we run all the AC units, but we'll see. I'm curious to see because like we just installed. It was Monday, so the 30th we installed the furnace in the shop. So I'm curious to see since we won't be running the heat pumps.
Where the fuck are my iodine tablets?
What? Iodine tablets?
Yeah, if you live within 20 miles of a nuclear power plant, the state sends you iodine tablets twice a year.
In case there's a meltdown or something?
Yep. In case there's a leak.
Yeah, I knew what those did, but I thought you were being paranoid. I was like,
No.
the chances of them going off is very, very slim.
But no, it's actually pretty high. We've had a couple leaks.
Oh,
We've had
leaks. I thought you meant like
we had the water
meltdowns.
go off.
I was talking about meltdowns.
No, it's not full down meltdown. But we've had
You're talking like leaks, like the coolant, like the water that they use.
there's a crack in the freaking thing, or someone drops a tool in the freaking tank. Or,
So do you have a monitor in your house that checks the radiation level? Oh, the state notifies you or
no,
something?
It's like 10. It's about 10 miles away. It's out on the water too. It's about a mile out from the shoreline, out into the sound.
Interesting. Today I learned something.
More like a half a mile, but it's out on a peninsula all by itself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're not near any. I don't know where. I actually don't even know where the power plant is that we're getting fed off of. The nice thing about this house, though, most of the neighborhoods around here are all above ground wire for the power. We're all below ground, and we're off the same feet as the hospital that's down the street. So our power is very stable here.
Yeah. The problem with being below ground here is below ground is below sea level.
Yeah, just that might be.
Right on the water.
I was thinking, because that was one of the things, luckily where we were at, we maybe had 2 power outages a year, if that, at the condo we were at. I think we've had 2 this year, so about the same, but I was looking into seeing about putting in a generator if we did
Yeah,
have
me
problems.
too. I'm tired of freaking losing power for no reason.
They're not as even okay. So like I was figuring they were gonna be like $20,000 for like a 200 amp generator. They're like 7,000,
Yeah.
which that's a lot of money. But I was like sitting here, I'm like, that's actually not that bad. Like I was expecting like 20 grand because I'm like, I just want something that can run it as if we were on the grid. You know what I mean? And because it's like the price difference between like like a 50 or 60 amp one and a 200 amp is like $2,000. It's like if I'm gonna go through the trouble of putting one in, might as well just get one that does the same capacity, or potential capacity that our service is. Because the reality is then if the power's out, what's that?
Are you city water or are you well?
We're on city water here.
Oh, you don't have to worry about a well pump. So your biggest draw then is your refrigerator.
Yeah, well, and running the business.
Yeah.
Because if we're if we have no power, we're dead in the water here.
Yeah, but I mean, if you came down to it and you had if you were running a generator, you could shut off all the printers and keep the lights on, basically.
Yeah. No, I mean,
your biggest draw is your refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. But I was looking into it, but it hasn't been like if we had an outage, it was like 5 minutes, and my battery backups have carried, all our runtime, like for all my servers and stuff to do all my security system and automation and cameras, I got an hour runtime on all those and the network switches connecting everything. And then the printers in the print farm, we got 15 minutes of time that they'll last before they shut down. So as long as my power outages are not more than, 10 minutes, we're fine, in terms of keeping the printers running and stuff, because if we got 30 machines running and power cuts out, that's a lot of work lost and a decent amount of material if they fail,
Yeah,
so but it's been pretty good. So I looked at them, we looked up pricing on them, and that's about as far as I went. I was like, I'm just going to get the pricing so I know what the potential cost would be, associated with putting one in, but I'm not going to go and put one in just to put one in until I see how the power situation is.
I have one orange and one black sock.
But I thought about actually doing solar here because we've got like our house is a ranch, and so we got a lot of roof.
Later, Robbie, mate.
Hi, bye, Robbie. Take it easy. He's a fellow Hoosier. Hoosier. I'm a Hoosier now. I always go through like AliExpress and GearBest, or not. Well, sometimes AliExpress, but GearBest and Bango just see what the newest printers are. Creality's trying to get $140 for that Transformer Optimus Prime looking thing.
Some of the crap they're selling is just.
I mean, that's one of the good and bad things of the market is there's so much choice. There's one of these resin printers.
It's almost as bad as it is good. It's hard to decide which.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's why, like, that's one of the things I had to take into consideration, like when we're getting products in and stocking, is like how many different variations of the same thing do we want to carry? You know what I mean? It's like when you go in the grocery store and there's like 10 different brands of chips. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I try to avoid that. Like, I try to not have too much variances of the same type of product. I'll like have two, like a entry level one and a high end one. That's about it. But I'm not gonna have like a bunch of mid tiers and a bunch of low end ones because one, it's a pain in the ass for inventory management and stocking, and two, it just confuses people. It's like, well, this one's only a couple bucks more. Is it worth it? And it's like, no, just make it simple and try not to confuse people. Hey, the Tronx X1 is only $99 right now on GearBest. If you want a pile of crap to play with.
Hey, Makersmith actually thought it was a halfway decent computer for a cheap piece of crap.
You can get
the worst.
Hey, for $160, you can get an M3D micro clone for $160. It's that Easy 3D THREED.
Yeah.
Nano.
They use the same mold for the body as each M3D thing.
I'm looking at it. It looks similar, but it's not.
It's actually better than the M3D.
Well, that's not hard to do.
And it's a quarter of the price. It's the same shell. They're using the same, plastic.
So here's where I'm at right now in terms of printers I have that we can actually do like videos on. I got that Ortor, which I'm kind of just mad about. I only have it because I got a really good price on it.
What did you mad about it?
And I got that big box right above my finger here, right here. This one right here. That's an Anycubic Chiron.
Whatever that is, never heard of it. I've kind of lost interest in paying attention because I just can't afford them.
There's so much stuff. But
send me a couple and I'll build them for you on live stream.
God, I wouldn't subject you to some of the crap we get through here.
I'm freaking rebuilding. I actually like doing that. I like taking the ultimate piece of crap and making it actually print.
Then go buy an ANET A8.
Not buying anything. I don't have any money. I have zero cash. Everything I got has been gifted to me.
Well, to be fair, if I didn't have the business to expend stuff on and legitimately do like R&D on, I wouldn't be buying as many printers as I have. That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Teaching Tech had a nice review on your board.
Yeah, no, he hit it spot on. Like one of the things someone mentioned in the comments and like pissed off a bunch of people. They were like confused. They're like, I watched your one on the SKR Mini and then this one, and the SKR Mini like was way longer and it was just going over like how to fix all the problems with it, but there were no mentions of any problems with this one. Did you have any issues with it? They were like, he was like, no, we didn't. It worked. It just worked. I thought it was funny because like that's what we were like in our internal like team chat. We're like, well, I mean, comparing ours to the cheaper ones, like I was like, one of the things is like the video was all about using the board and the features, and there was no like, here's what you have to do to actually get it to work.
Did you design that from scratch?
So Griffin is our engineer, and he designed that from scratch, 100%.
Really?
100%.
Pretty cool. You should get him to design a like an SKR type board yourself.
So we've talked about it, but I don't think it'd be worth the time to like doing the design. Like it's a lot of money and a lot of time, just because the SKR exists. I feel like it'd be a wasted effort.
I'm already kind of getting disappointed because they burn out way too much.
Wait, but the thing is, people are of the mindset that it's $20 board. They'll just buy another one. But it's like, how many times are you going to do that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Look at the Duet. If you could match a Duet kind of quality.
Well, I told people if you want something for a custom printer, just go buy a Duet. Duet makes nice boards. Like I've never used them, but I have friends that use them and they rave about them. So I just pass on the recommendation. I'm not gonna shit on Duet. They make a solid product. I've never heard a single person talking about the genuine Duet boards being crap.
No, the boards well, that's my point. Is you're into building quality boards instead of just doing the SKR Mini cheapest piece of crap like they do. You'd actually build a better quality board that you could sell for $75 or $100.
I mean, we could do it, but it's just would we be able to even break even on it? You know what I mean? So that's the thing, and it's like, we finally got like this whole. Sorry, I'm actually updating.
It should be cheaper if you don't solder your drivers on, correct? Is it cheaper to solder the drivers on, or is it cheaper to put the socket on there?
It's only a little bit cheaper because of you're not paying for a driver, but if you factor in the cost of the socketed driver plus the assembly, like the parts for the sockets themselves, it's actually cheaper for, like if I were to sell the board socketed with a set of drivers, it'd be more expensive than integrating them. And here's the thing, when I was starting out, I was like, I want to be able to replace my drivers if they fail and all this other stuff. But the reality is, if you have a board that's designed correctly to protect the driver from people being stupid, or if you just follow the directions, the integrated drivers are fine. Like, I used to be against them, but the more and more I've used boards and integrated drivers, one, it removes the whole, and from a business standpoint and usability standpoint, it removes the whole risk of people putting a driver backwards and frying the board and or the driver. And two, like, it's way simpler. Like, you're not having to install them and do heat sinks on them. Thermally, the socketed drivers are inferior to having it on the board because you have this tiny little PCB.
You use the board as your thermal runaway.
Or with thermal heat sinking. So, the step stick, even if I did a step stick, let's say we design our own step stick. Even if I did that, 4 layers, 2 ounce copper on every layer like we do on the easy boards, it's still going to get hotter than having them on the board because it's isolated to that little island of PCB.
Right.
But there's trade-offs. All the solutions work at the end of the day. I do like the integrated drivers. I mean, Duet does integrated drivers. There's a reason that people are doing integrated drivers. It's just way easier. And, again, it's like once you go to socket it, it's like from a product experience standpoint, now if I have a socketed board, I have to then account for all these different drivers that people could be possibly plugging into it from a firmware standpoint and actually making sure they work, because there's also all these variants of these Chinese step sticks that don't work correctly. And if someone gets them, let's say they buy our board and they go buy some cheap drivers off Amazon from one of these Chinese companies, and the drivers don't work, they then blame it on the board. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one of the things with the Bluer, the issue with the lost steps was because the step sticks they had were not designed correctly for the 2208s, and they were putting out way less torque than they should have because they weren't designed correctly. And I'm actually, the next video is going to be coming out on our channel is going to be probably about a 10-15 minute video, but over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I can't remember, it's been a while, it's been at least 2 weeks, I've been talking with the owner of Two Trees, and he's been going through and fixing all of the problems I brought up with that printer. Like, he's even
fine. I mean,
so here's the thing.
especially after you beat the snot out of that thing.
So here's the thing.
That thing seriously.
Here was the problem. This is why I'm being sympathetic to them. I talked to him. He got rid of the guy that was dealing with their email, like the email communication. All the communication I was going through was through their one guy that was handling that kind of stuff, and they got rid of him because he wasn't doing his job. So I can 100% relate to that as a business owner, because we've had people that are like that. And if someone doesn't tell you, like your customers, like if you think like the guy's telling you he's doing his job and it looks like he's doing his job, as an owner, you just got to assume like everything seems okay until you start getting feedback from your customers that, hey, like this is shit. So he does generally, from what I've interacted with him, it seems like he genuinely cares about the machine. He sent me videos of them at the power supply factory testing the ground on them and verifying that he's like with me. He's like just double checking that we're doing this correctly, and sent me videos of them testing it and fixing it. I showed him how, like, what screws you need to check on here. These need to be tight. Here's how you test it. This is what the ohms should be. So it's been a very positive thing, and he's taken all the feedback I gave him seriously, and he's been really great to work with. So I need to sit down and put together a video and talk about this, because I got a folder full of videos and pictures he sent me of all the stuff getting fixed, and they also give me contact information to put in the video. So if somebody has a Bluer and has problems with a certain thing, to contact them, and they will send you out replacement parts. So, ended up being what I thought was just a shitty Chinese company being one crappy employee screwing the whole company for everybody, because he was like the one that was the face.
Probably half the time, that's what it is anyway.
Yeah, well, and for, to be fair, how is he supposed to know that unless, like, if the employee's telling him, one thing, and it appears that things are getting done, how is he supposed to know?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Well, you got to check on your employees now and again, but yeah, I agree.
It's easy for people to look like they're working when they're not. Like we had a guy here that like we suspected he was kind of dicking around and not doing his stuff, and then we started getting more reports of it, and then I started watching the cameras closer, and then it's like, oh well, yeah, this is a problem, so we sat down, talked to the guy, let him know what the issues were, so he had time to correct, and it wasn't getting any better, so he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because like he was like I think he was like 20, so he's a younger kid. I'm like just thinking I'm like, man, if I had a job like this when I was 20, I would be ecstatic. You know, especially because he's into all this stuff. Well, here's the thing. He's working in our shop. He's not dealing with any customers. He's not working a shitty retail job. You know, he was working on printers and working on wiring and stuff, like harnesses and stuff for machines. And the thing is, like, I didn't realize we would give him stuff to do, and like he would make it look like he did it, but then we actually go and check and look closer, the stuff wasn't getting done because what had happened was he would then go, once he hit a point where he didn't know what to do, instead of asking myself or Aaron for help, he would just go do something easier. So stuff wasn't getting done. And it's like, dude, if you would have just asked me, if you said, hey, Tim, like, I'm having trouble with doing this one thing on this printer. Can you sit down and, can you give me a hand? I would have come out there and sat down with him for hours, showing him whatever he needed to know and training him, But he told us he knew how to do this stuff. He has printers at home, but it's like, I feel like it was more laziness. I don't think it was necessarily lack of skills. I think it was just he didn't want to do it. Or he got too comfortable. Because, like, I try not to breathe down people's necks. My wife is the same way. Like, our shop manager, Aaron's the same way. Like, I don't want to have people that I need to hire another person just to manage those people. Like, we have an internal system that we can set up tasks.
You got 4 or 5 guys there?
We got 8.
Really? That's not bad.
Like, we got a couple remote guys. Hang on, I gotta count. I think we're up to 8. There's one guy that's not on the site because we're in the process of onboarding him, and he's actually in London. He's gonna be doing like updates to product pages and the website and stuff. So he's gonna be more on like the marketing side and web development side. So including myself and Samantha, that's 2. We got Aaron, Griffin, Tor, Mac, Rachel, and Noah, and then we'll have the new guy Miles. So we'll be up to 9 people this year. So, but it is.
Don't do any real advertising anywhere, do you?
No, that's what we need to push for this year is like, and I don't think I'm going to do like traditional advertising. I think I'm going to be more proactive about sending stuff out to different YouTube channels and whatnot. We launched an affiliate program, so we have that now. This year we're going to actually, instead of just having like where you get like, credit in our store, because that's how it is right now, we got to figure out what we got to do tax wise to like actually pay people out. Like if they want to cash out through PayPal or something, that kind of stuff. So, but actually check the referrals here and see. Let's see who's been killing it lately. Jerry Knapp's got a lot of them actually. Jerry Knapp, Jim, Hedge Attack, Michael Laws. Yeah,
Jim's probably one of your biggest, isn't he?
Jim's got a decent amount. Jerry Knapp's been getting a lot lately.
I don't know Jerry Knapp.
He's a 3D HP is his group. He's a guy who did this Cantina band head that's sitting on top of my enclosure here. He does some really cool stuff. Like he does prints like of superheroes and stuff and finishes them and paints them. It's crazy. He does some really cool work.
So he's like Uncle Jesse in those.
Does Uncle Jesse do painting? I know he does props and like cosplay. I gotta catch up. There's so many channels that I used to watch all the time that I'm just like.
My problem is I can't keep up with them all.
It's a lot.
I really don't watch Uncle Jesse anymore. I see his stuff and I'll watch like 2 minutes of it and then stop because I just don't.
Yeah,
I'm not that big into cosplay. I think it's cool. I like the costumes. I like the work they're doing. But I have zero interest in cosplay.
I think it's cool. Like, it's the crazy amount of work people put into it. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know he's been in the chat. I was just trying to picture who he was because I think I've seen his videos.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. So
the name caught me. I just couldn't put the name to the person, which I have a habit of not being able to do on a regular basis.
I'm good with faces. I'm really good with faces. I'm not that good with names. It also doesn't help that I've got a lot of friends that like have the same names. I got like 5 Joes and 4 Mikes, and it's like,
I am terrible with names. I'm terrible with faces half the time these days.
Yeah. I can usually remember faces. That's how I've been for a while. One of the things
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go with the boomer excuse?
I'm freaking old. I'm just an old fuddy duddy. Smacked my head on the dashboard a half a dozen times and played too much football. And
Yeah, you've told me about your crazy young escapades.
I whacked my head more times than you can imagine.
Probably, you're probably not wrong. I think I'm
I lead a lot, so that's my excuse. Lead in the 70s, if we'd known about lead like we do now. Dude, I used to melt and make little musket balls. I was all into that. My parents were into
probably no like fume or anything protecting you.
No, we didn't do nothing, man. You poured the freaking lead in there, you took it out, you cleaned it, and you actually grabbed it with your hand. You took a knife and cleaned the formings off of it and the seam and stuck it in the thing. And then when they ate lunch, you never washed your hands. Made little lead figurines and dice and pencils.
Yeah, I mean,
I still got lead in the house. There's probably 60 pounds of lead down in the basement. Just blocks of lead that we used to melt.
I was interested. I'm going through my YouTube channel comments, and some Chinese account commented on it got held by spam on my King Rune.
BLM, crazy old man.
This comment got held by this YouTube spam filter. It's a Chinese account, and it was a comment on the King Rune KP3. It says, that printer wasn't designed by King Rune. Staff of King Rune stole another company's drawings and manual, and that was the reason of their manual was wrong, so I don't recommend it.
So why haven't you designed a printer from scratch of your own?
That requires a lot of time that I do not have. It does. It does. Because But here's the problem. This is one of the reasons why the printer based on those AL4s didn't launch, is because I'm so anal about trying to get every goddamn thing right that it takes way longer than it should. So I'm really worried about, doing something quicker and then having a quality issue. I don't want to have that. You know what I mean? I also don't want to be having a million iterations of the same model either. I want to have one model and we run that model for a year or two and nothing major changes on it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be...
never do that because there's too much... I mean, the whole industry is moving too fast to really do that.
Well, I mean, unless
everything could be different.
Well, here's the thing. With our easy boards, the reason we're running the 2208s was because that's what was out at the time, and that's what we tested with. We didn't test with the 2209s. The 2208s are known to be reliable. They were 100% working, and that's what we tested it with. If I then switch those chips from the 2208s to 2209s, now that's not the same board that I did, 10 months of testing on and know is stable. Do you know what I mean? So
there's not that much difference in the 2209.
Well,
I get what you're saying.
Well, here's the thing: the 2209. I'm glad we didn't go with them because the first 3 months of the 2209s, they actually had a problem with the die where the chips were failing and features were not working, where they had to then change it. So the 2209s being sold now are not the same die as the 2209s that came out when they were released. That's the kind of stuff I want to avoid. I'd rather would be using stuff that's slightly older, but I know is proven to work. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm like that with all electronics, anyways. Everyone goes out and buys the latest, greatest, whatever phone, whether it's a Droid or an iPhone, and I'm always buy the one that's 3 versions down because that's the one that actually still works.
I used to be upgrading all the time. I was very happy with my S9 Plus that I had. The only reason I went to the 10 was because I wanted the wide-angle camera, because I had an LG phone with the wide angle and I missed it. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm going to use this until this... Oh god, my headphones just shut off. Wait. Can you talk? I want to hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, it said all...
No, just lost your mic.
No, you can hear me still. Hello?
Yeah, it's fading in and out though. You're popping.
Oh, well, I guess it's telling me it's time to go.
Yeah, it's going anyway.
Well, this was fun hanging out, Tom. You take it easy, man.
Glad you jumped in.
Yeah, no problem. I like chatting.
made it a little more interesting than just me going blah 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 blah.
Yeah, not instead of one idiot blabbing, it's two. All right, dude. I will talk to you later. Everybody, happy New Year, and you can go ahead and wrap up your stream. I'll talk to you later, Tom.
Later, man.
Bye.
So that's it. Gonna kill it. What time is it? It's 9:45. 9:45. Excuse me. It's late. I'm going to bed. I'm not even gonna watch TV. So that was fun. We had some stupid discussions and some cool discussions and did all kinds of stupid crap. And I did start tearing apart the Frown King for its new iteration. I still have 2 parts I have to go pick up. They're here. I just got to pick them up. Somebody else. And that's it. So I'm out of here. Happy New Year. Glad you guys stopped in. See you all next time around. Later.